Tonight our special guest is Auckland City Councilor Cameron Brewer. Right now, this is the time when many are considering taking a run at the mayoralty. It's only 15 months away, and tonight Cameron throws his hat in the ring. You heard it first on The Beat Goes On. Cameron Brewer, wonderful to see you, Cameron.
Jerry, how are you?
Wow.
Great to be here again.
Yes, now if anybody has got their finger on the pulse of Auckland, it's got to be Cameron Brewer. You've been a councilman now for, nearly 4.5 years, haven't you, on the Auckland City Council? And it would be fair to say that you lead the opposition on the council. Say there's Len and his group over there, and there'd be Cameron and his group over there. Would that be correct?
Well, I'm part of a grouping, and I'm probably one of the more vocal ones, and the one that gets quoted a bit in the newspaper. But I certainly don't purport to lead too many people. I've struggled to lead my children, let alone a bunch of centre-right city councillors. But no, it's a great joy.
You are a magnet for people wanting a quote about what's happening at the Auckland City Council. And so you must be doing something right for people to continually call you and say, Cameron, what do you think of this situation?
Well, that's the one thing I've really enjoyed over the last 4.5 years, is just getting out there amongst the community and trying to represent them as best I can. And a lot of people, when I first went in there and I was the promo guy from the Newmarket Business Association, my critics thought he's not going to be tough enough. He's going to be a bit of a yes man. He's a good news guy, and he won't be hard enough to take on the establishment. And I'd like to think that I've proved some of my critics wrong, and by at least raising the issues. Whether I've affected change, who knows, but at least I've got a lot of the issues, especially around cost structure at the council, rates increases, debt increases, staff increases, all those issues I've been raising since day one. No one listened initially. Jerry, you know what it's like. But 4.5 years on, they're thinking, hang on, maybe this guy's maybe this guy's actually reflecting what we're thinking.
Well, we wanted to talk to you today because last week on the show I spoke to Tony Amos, who does our politics, and we had a little discussion about this business about the wharfs being filled in, and I was pro the wharves going ahead because they talk about the fact that the cruise ships are now they're going like this now, and we need, when the overseas tourists come here, they want to be able to park at a decent wharf. And I thought, wow, this is a great idea. And then suddenly, out of the blue, there's a group of people get together and think they don't want this to happen. So I'm for Auckland growth. I'm for jobs and for the good economics, and let's get going and let's do things. And yet there's another group out here saying, not in my backyard.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Aucklanders that feel that way, isn't there? And I suppose, look, I voted for tightening up the rules around reclamation, and that's what we're going to do. But it's still not enough for people. And so a few of us have called on the Mayor to just slow things down, encourage the ports of Auckland to slow down their wharf extensions, and let's do some analysis, let's do the work, and let's try and take the public with us. Do we really need 100-metre wharf extensions? Can we please see the work that justifies them? And so that's what we've said to the Mayor. Let's do the work. But it took us all by surprise, I suppose, that we went in there. Most of us tried to do the right thing, but some reclamation is still too much reclamation for a lot of people. And so let's reflect the people, the children of Auckland, as best we can, because once we reclaim, there's no going back. So look, I was surprised by the public sentiment, but not at all shocked. But certainly there was an element of surprise there, and I think we now need to start dialing back. We are elected representatives, and let's try and get this right. I think the port needs to work, the port needs to grow. It's a big part of our economy, but we also need to protect that fabulous harbour, which you spend every weekend drinking gin and tonic on, I'm sure.
I do. But Cameron, I always feel there's a group of people that protest about everything, just about it. It must drive you mad. Doesn't matter what you try to do in Auckland, go up with 15 stories or down. They protest everything. They just don't want to see any change. How do you cope with people like that?
Well, it's an everyday reality in local government. Whether it's oil exploration off the west coast of Auckland, whether it's port reclamation, whether it's intensifying, our residential property zones. There's always challenges, but the council has a job to go out there, listen to the public, and convince the public. And I suppose that's one thing about the ports issue, is that the council failed to go out there and really get a grasp of what the public mood was. And subsequently, most of us were surprised by the strength of that public feeling. We completely understand it, and look, I'm the first one to put my hand up and say, look, we need to do better, and that's what we need to do. The Mayor is unfortunately kind of sliding around on this issue and doesn't quite know whether he supports the ports or the people, but we need to do better.
But the Auckland Harbour, the Waitemata Harbour, is huge. We're talking 3 extra, I think it's 3 hectares, is it? It's just a tiny wee amount that they're going to reclaim. So,
well, potentially. And the thing is, I suppose, it's that incremental creep into the harbour.
Yeah.
And but one thing's for sure, with this unitary plan, and I think we discussed it last time I came in, there are provisions in there for the rules to be tougher.
Yeah.
But so it's just a case of striking a balance. The port needs some wriggle room, but the people of Auckland have made it loud and clear that they shouldn't have much wriggle room, and so we've got to reflect that as best we can, as well as protect the asset that is Auckland's, and that is the ports of Auckland and its ability to keep growing wealth for this region. Sometimes I get on the wrong side of the issue, and I kind of think I've got a pretty good ear for my electorate being Orākei, the eastern suburbs of Auckland, but sometimes you don't quite get it right. And so, look, I'm the first as the youngest councillor in council to put my hand up and say, look, I probably got that wrong. I'm going to revise my position. And people say, oh, you can't do that. But a lot of people say, well, good on you for rethinking this. We've put you under a bit of pressure. You've responded, and now you're trying to, fix it up as best you can. So there's a few of us, like the ports issue, that thought we were doing the right thing by tightening up the reclamation rules and supporting that. But the public of Auckland want us to go even further. So we've listened to them, and we're doing our best to meet their expectations as best we can.
Now, can we have a bit of a scoop on the Beat Goes On tonight? A little bit of a scoop?
Oh, well, of course. What's that?
The scoop is that here's a young man full of energy, now 4.5 years experience. What a wonderful mayor you would make, Cameron. Could that be a scoop?
Well, that is an endorsement. That is something for my Facebook page, isn't it? Have you got one of those Facebook machines, Jerry? You know how they work?
I'll write it down.
Are we friends on Facebook?
I'm sure we are. Have you given it some thought about being the mayor?
Look, yeah. Look, people, have approached me, and they've approached other candidates and that. And look, it's great that people encourage me and tell me that I could be and should be, and so I need to take stock of all that. I've got a young family, and a 10-month-old little baby boy, and so we need to kind of work out what our priorities are as a family first and foremost. But as I've said, and I said to you in the green room earlier, Jerry, that if there's enough people that say, hey, we think, we want to support you, Cameron, and over other potential centre-right candidates, and here's a, exploratory committee, and here's some funding, and here's some organisation that's prepared to back you.
I've got them somewhere.
And you could put down the first $1,000. That's just 10 seconds of advertising on the show, isn't it?
Yes.
And if that kind of proposition came to me, then of course I would consider it. But there's plenty of people that are bigger and smarter and more experienced than me that probably should go for the job. Let's see if they do. But what I do know, Gerard, is that those people need to come out soon, and I'm also a little sceptical. And this is me getting political, and I know you're not a political show, but if we replace a Labour mayor with a Labour mayor, is that what the people want? And I don't think they want a shuffling of the deck chairs or a change of ringmaster at the circus. They want real change, and they're sick of their rates going up. They're sick of council debt going up. They were promised with council amalgamation when 8 councils came into one that the costs would even out, that there'd be economies of scale, that there'd be less staff, not more staff, and all that. And yet the numbers keep climbing up. So my concern is if we jump on the bandwagon of a high-profile Labour mayor to replace the existing Labour mayor, that their political management might be better, but their financial management and starting to shrink the bureaucracy will not be a priority for them. And what we really need at the council is for someone to come in and say, look, we're going to freeze the wage and salary bill, which has escalated 100 million to 730 million in the last 4.5 years.
$730 million in wages.
That's right. It's gone up. It's gone up over 100 million. And in fact, you know, we've got our total headcount is over 11,000 now on council, people that work for council.
Well, next question. Has the City Council, is it too big a job for one man, do you think, as a mayor? Is it manageable?
Well, it's huge. And the thing is, when they merged the 8 councils, and you'll remember that.
I do.
Can you recall the 8? I'll take you through Rodney, North Shore, Waitakere, Auckland City, Franklin, Pukekohe, Manukau, the Auckland Regional Council. I think we've got them all there.
Big area.
Huge area from, for your listeners down in Stewart Island.
Hello, Stewart Island.
From Tahana, they've got good Sky TV coverage down there, they tell me. From Tahana in the north, which is just north of Wellsford, to Bombay, to Pukekohe in the south, from Howick to Helensville. You know, it's a massive area. And that's the thing about standing for the mayoralty is you wouldn't go in there lightly because you need some poor bugger to go and put all the hoardings up.
Yeah.
And I know that you're free most weekends. And I know that you're better than the Prime Minister on a hammer and nail.
I'll be there, Cameron. I'm sure I can help out some way.
You've got the right colour shirt on, so that's a good start.
I'll be working for Len on that day and I'll be working for you. I've got to remain neutral here.
Yes, of course. You'll have to put your red shirt on for
That's
him.
right. I'll have a red shirt and a blue shirt at the same time. But Auckland is pretty well ahead now after 4.5 years. And what's the positives? What do you... I know you've just outlined a lot of the problems, but... What's people dreaming of about Auckland?
The positives is that we live in the greatest city
That's what I want to hear.
In the world.
We do, don't we?
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and it's
and
also
the best country in the world.
And it's also accessible. The thing is, we've just got to keep working on the affordability issues because a lot of your baby boomers that are coming of age now, turning 70, these baby boomers as of next year. If
Not too far away.
If I work it out. And I've got a couple of aunts that are doing that themselves. And so those post-war babies are coming of age. And look, we want to keep them in Auckland. We need to keep our older New Zealanders in our cities because they're contributing so much with our economy. They're still such a high part of the workforce. We don't want them moving out of Auckland to Pocono or wherever because they can't afford to stay here. So we've got to make sure we don't toll them out, we don't tax them out, we don't rate them out, we don't house price them out. They're difficult challenges, but we need to keep our older New Zealanders here.
Thank you for that. And Cameron, we've run out of time, and it's always enjoyable when you come in. But I noticed you've got a great little pin today for the Anzacs.
Well, that's coming up, isn't it?
That's coming up.
You were there on day one, on the first Anzac. I'm just Johnny come lately on these. But in all seriousness, we had an opening of a fabulous poppy mosaic mural on our War Memorial Community Centre in Ellerslie.
Cameron, you make me feel very, very good. You've said some wonderful things about Gerard Smith today, and I'm hoping that wonderful things will happen for Cameron Brewer. In 15 months, or is it 18 months' time, there'll be another election for Auckland City, and we'll be seeing Cameron Brewer, the next mayor of Auckland. Is it a possibility?
Well, anything's possible, I suppose. But look, if there's
the idea doesn't frighten you.
No, well, initially I kind of said, I don't want to do that, I'm too young. And then I kind of think, hang on, come next election.
That's the best time to do it.
Come next election, I'll be 43. And
43?
Elvis Presley was dead at 42. Yeah. So, I'm young as far as most people are concerned, but old enough to start making a contribution. So who knows, if there's enough people, they're going to put their hands in their back pockets. Gerald, who knows? Yeah.
And the thing is this, you've been there 4.5 years and you know where all the bodies are buried. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and I know what's behind those secret bookcases.
On that note, we'll leave it. Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you.
See you again. Bye-bye.